Bintu Drame, and this is QTV Midday News coming to you live from our studios along Keraba Avenue, and thanks for joining us. Our top stories. A 41-year-old woman died at Lemon CDC when a roof fell on her during the Friday night windstorm. Several households were also badly damaged. As part of a series of social activities in the URR, President Adama Barrow on Saturday visited the under-construction Basse Market and the roads and bridges projects in the area. A scientific study to find out whether people who tested positive for COVID-19 have or could develop SARS-CoV-19 antibodies is being conducted by the Ministry of Health with partners. In sports, the maiden QCell Youth Cup tournament kicked off on Friday at the Q City football field with 8 teams drawn in 2 groups of 4 taking part. Also, Farafenni Sports Association has elected a new committee to run football affairs locally. We will hear from the newly elected chairman about this year's football season. Those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. Now, a 41-year-old woman died at Lemon CDC when a roof fell on her during the Friday night windstorm. Several households in the West Coast and the Kanifing municipality were also damaged. Babukar Sise reports.
According to the Deputy Alcalo of Lemon CDC, Kunkun Danso, and Lemon Ward Councillor Mbemba Toure, the incident happened at around 9 p.m. Apparently, the deceased, Binet Jata, was rushing home when the wind started. A roof from another compound, which had been blown away by the strong wind, fell on her and she died on the spot. Her body was discovered 4 hours later. Her husband, Farmer Jata, said she was a good and kind woman and the family is devastated. They are blessed with 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. At Sukuta, the Sisekunda family was also not spared. Abdul Sise and his family were sleeping when a mango tree fell on their house. The damage is extensive. The house was flooded and most of their house is now damaged. Sehumanga, another victim, says his family couldn't sleep last night. The roof of his house was blown away by the wind. Their belongings were all soaked by the rain which came with the wind. At New Yundum, there is a similar story. Although no life was lost, the Dabokunda family are also devastated by the storm accompanied by rain. Parts of their house fell and parts of the roof was blown away. All these families are now appealing for support as the losses incurred are huge. When the first rains began in June in the Kanifing municipality and the West Coast region, it took many by surprise but brought excitement, signaling the beginning of the rainy season. No one at the time realized that it could claim lives and cause so much destruction of property. Tonight, our thoughts and prayers are with Binet Jata and family and all those affected. May Allah grant her Jannah. Babukar Sise, QTV News.
Moving on, as part of a series of social activities in the URR, President Adama Barrow on Saturday visited the Basse Market under construction and the roads and bridges projects. More in this report.
The Basse Market was ravaged by fire last year. The construction by Gamworks will see 245 new stalls built and the project is expected to be completed in 2 months, according to Gamworks. The president expresses delight about the project, adding that when completed, priority would be given to affected victims. From here, President Barrow proceeded to Basse Wuli Bridge, the Lamen Kotopasamas Road, the Fatoto Bridge, the Sare Alpha Bridge, and the Chamoy Bridge in Tumana. He was accorded a rousing welcome in Bajakunda, where the youth escorted the president's convoy with motorcycles. From Fode Kunda to Garawol in the Kantora district, President Barrow will hold a political rally in Bakadaji on Sunday. We will bring you updates on other presidential engagement in URR.
A scientific study to find out whether people who tested positive for COVID-19 have or could develop SARS-CoV-19 antibodies is being conducted by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Abibatu Sise tells us more.
The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is providing support for African Union member states to conduct a COVID-19 prevalence survey in Africa. According to Seni Sane, the Director of Health Research at the Ministry of Health, the purpose of the study is to understand the prevalence of COVID-19 in the Gambia and gather accurate data for planning effective mitigation and understanding of the true impact of diseases.
Now, the information that is going to be gained from this exercise, from these surveys, will actually provide critical insight into the transmission and impact of the virus in the African continent, to help countries to understand what factors may have influenced this recent transmission. And also there's going to be a standardization of methodologies in the different countries that are actually going to implement this survey to better understand the differences in behavior of the virus in different geographical areas, in different climatical zones, as well as the different mitigation strategies that were employed by different countries.
The Director of Health Research further stated that the survey is a nationwide exercise targeting those that have not received any form of COVID-19 vaccination. The exercise, he added, was not possible before the vaccine rollout due to logistic constraints.
We selected 115 enumeration areas countrywide, and in those 115 enumeration areas, there were listed that were employed to go there. They went into all the enumeration areas, listed all the compounds and households within those areas. And in each enumeration area, we are supposed to select 15 households. And in those 15 households is where our data collectors or our field staff are actually going to visit. And upon their arrival in the household, selected households, after having engaged with the household members, they are going to select one individual who is actually going to be the participant in the survey.
The selected household members must be above 5 years of age. Sane urges Gambians to participate in the survey as it poses minimal or no risk to participants.
It also involves collection of small drops of blood from individuals, which are all conversant with, because all of us, one time or the other, you must have visited the health facilities where you'll be subjected to be tested on RDT to see whether you have malaria or not. So it's the same RDT that we are also trying to use in the field. Just a prick on a fingertip, and a drop or two will be on the RDT to determine your status.
The survey data is expected to be collected in 15 days. Participants will also know their status if they were previously infected with the COVID-19 virus but did not conduct any tests to prove their status. The data will help improve and guide efforts on COVID-19 infection, promote community engagement strategies to prevent the further transmission of the virus. For QTV News, I am Abibatu Sise.
From that story, we go for a short commercial break. Still to come, we have more stories. Do stay tuned.
The biggest mobile money service in the Gambia has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that commercial break. The NDMA, with funding from government, supported 71 victims of July's devastating windstorm, making the cash distribution at the governor's residence in Paseman Sajankunda. Alhaji AF has more on that.
July 2021 windstorm, which tore across the country, killed at least 10 people and placed a heavy burden on communities, families and government that led President Barrow to hold an emergency meeting to assess the damage and devise a response. Over the weekend, 71 windstorm victims each received $22,500. At the event, the governor of URR Sambaba thanked the government for taking swift action to respond to the plight of disaster victims.
I will thank the government of the Gambia and also what we call NDMA and partners for taking the swift action to make sure that they help the people who were affected at that time. We all know when somebody is affected, the families are always what we call in trouble, and at the same time, psychologically they are affected. But the government of the Gambia and other agencies partnering, the government of the Gambia decided to say we have to come all out to make sure that we help the families that are affected.
Hudul E.N. Kohli, the NDMA regional coordinator, said the cash given to the household will help victims recover. He further calls on partners to work with the NDMA to avoid duplication of effort in disaster response.
The information that we gathered from the affected households was shared with government and partners, recognizing the fact that the windstorm has really caused a lot of damage to the affected households and communities. Government thought it very much necessary to provide support. The basic function of National Disaster Management Agency is to ensure that the minimum resources that we have as a nation is judiciously utilized. How do you have to judiciously use this kind of resources in this kind of situation? Is to coordinate. And coordinating here means you have to make sure and ensure that you know stakeholders that are taking part in the response. If you know stakeholders that are taking part in the response, go to them and make sure that they cooperate with the system and know that this is the laws of the state.
Representatives of the victims, both Sekou Suso and Sira Sise, expressed delight at government's swift response.
Much appreciation.
I received this relief with much appreciation and delight. This came at the right time, and we thank the government for their proactive role. Within just 3 months, government responded to the needs of its citizens. It is timely, especially during these hard times. This is a huge gesture. Such response have never happened in my lifetime in my village. So we want to thank the government of the day. I will further appeal to the victims to spend their money for the intended purpose and also buy quality materials when reconstructing their houses to avoid such disaster again. Finally, I will urge everyone to plant more trees in our surroundings so that they can act as windbreakers anytime such winds occur. The windstorm has been described as the worst such disaster in the Gambia in recent years, and the country's disaster management agency says the windstorm killed 10 people, displaced 1,531 people internally, and affected 3,140 people across the country. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alaji A.F. Jallo.
In other news, the CityLink Ostend Banjul team, through the Banjul City Council, on Friday handed over $800,000 worth of medical equipment to management of Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital to produce hand sanitizers by the hospital staff as part of the health component of the European Union-funded project. Omar P. Jallo reports.
The donation include 80 drums of ethanol, 1 drum of hydrogen, 1 drum of glycerol, 10-liter plastic bottles, 3 alcohol meter, hard plastic tanks, 80 to 100 liters, metal paddles, measuring cylinders to help government combat the coronavirus pandemic in the Gambia. Mamla Jassi, the project coordinator of CityLink Austin Banjul, said the gesture is to complement government efforts in the fight against COVID-19 in the country.
This has been an initiative that we started, I think it was last year or something. Myself, with my team, the project team, and Mr. Sane and Ismail Gomez as well, we started this at the McCarthy Square building to how we can help with this pandemic to facilitate and produce the hand sanitizers here that we can use.
Annette Camara, the communication officer of the CityLink Austin Banjul project, said since the start of the Belgium and Gambian cities collaboration, healthcare has been one of the most important topics in their exchanges, adding that accessible healthcare is crucial for improving healthcare delivery performance.
So it's not just that we're donating this for the infection control unit or for the pharmacy to produce its own alcohol, its own hand sanitizer, but it is also to ensure that me, you, and everybody that walks into the hospital is safe, and this is just one way we can contribute towards the development of the hospital.
Mrs. Fabian Aina Gransanya, a health consultant, said during such serious pandemics, things should not be left with government alone. Rather, everyone has a responsibility to make sure the deadly disease is defeated.
We know as a health worker that infection can't be controlled, but it can be managed by these products, because this is alcohol hand sanitizer, which is always there in case there is no water and soap it can protect and prevent microbes. We have a lot of bacteria and viruses that are unseen.
Receiving the donated items, the acting human resource manager of the hospital, Peter Correa, said the donated items will strengthen government efforts to combat COVID-19 in the country by helping them contain the disease, and expressed appreciation for the project's continuous support to the needs of the referral hospital while giving an assurance of good use of this donation.
As we are all aware of the current pandemic, the most fundamental thing is prevention. We've been receiving support, supplies, and from them, but what is most important here is the prevention. How do we prevent the infection from spreading from one person to another? And this is what they have here to start.
Mustafa Bachili, the CEO of Banjul City Council, thanked the donor for their gesture and urged the users to take proper care of the medical items. A senior matron in the pediatrics department, Ajifatu Kamara Jamme, expressed appreciation to the donors for their generosity to the hospital, saying the donation will help prevent the further spread of the coronavirus within the hospital. CityLink Austin Banjul Partnership for Sustainable City Development is funded by the European Union under the 2018 Euro 8, called Authorities Partnership for Sustainable Cities. The objective of the project is to strengthen the urban governance capacity of Banjul City Council by developing efficient public service and future-proof programs for the city of Banjul. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Now in sports, the Maiden QCell Youth Cup tournament kicked off on Friday at the Q City football field, with 8 teams drawn in 2 groups of 4 taking part. Our sports reporter, Momodu Gajaga, watched the first 2 matches in the under-15 and under-18 categories, and he now reports on the exciting opening matches.
With the growing need to develop grassroots football, the QCell-sponsored Youth Cup, a tournament for football academies, got underway at the Q City football field. During the opening ceremony, Mohamed Jah, chairman of the Q Group, says the competition will give young players the opportunity to showcase their talents. He added that the players in the competition could be scouted for junior national team categories, such as the under-17s and the under-20s, to avoid age cheating in football.
We believe that if we come out of here, we should be able to play under-20 of Gambia with the right ages. It is very shameful for us to take our boys to a tournament. Halfway through the tournament, we are disqualified because we are overage. I think that is very embarrassing as a nation, and we want to stop that. You know, we believe that we should register the correct ages of our players. If the people in the West, in Germany, in the US, they can register the correct ages, why can't we? I believe we Africans are stronger. You know, we should be able to have, you know, the right age, and we win the tournaments. So we have to start it right from here. And you can see you are privileged to play on one of the best pitches in this country.
Veteran Gambian football commentator and football encyclopedia Tijan Masane Sise, who attended the event, hailed the Q Group chairman for staging such a competition for these young players.
The Speaker of the British Parliament once said, "History is a part left by the past. Make no mistake, you have cemented yourself in that part." I want to thank you profoundly on behalf of a grateful nation and a grateful people for what you do for our youth. We can only build Gambia through the future, and nobody does it like you. So like the Wolof say, I'll say Gachangalama.
Football coaches whose teams are taking part in the competition also hailed the event, while former Gambian international Tijan Jaite, who is now a football ambassador, says the tournament will help the drive to develop football in the country.
And this is very, very important for our sports development. And we hope that this will continue every year, and it will add a very great value to the Gambian youth.
On the pitch, there were 2 exciting matches. In a ruthless display of exciting attacking football, Q City FC thrashed Danso FC 8-0, with Mohamed Kinte scoring a hat-trick in a dominant performance in the under-15 category. In the second match of the tournament, Q City FC's under-18 faced with Danso FC, the host winning 2-0 with both goals scored in the first half. Danso FC came close to scoring twice in the first 5 minutes, but wasted their chances. These 2 games have created excitement and anticipation for the matches scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Now, sports development in Farafenni had been going through difficult times recently. However, this did not prevent the election of a new committee to run football affairs locally. Our regional reporter, Don Williams, spoke to the newly elected chairman about this year's football season.
The newly elected chairman, Keba Diba, has a daunting task to start and complete this year's 2021 return season. He spoke about preparations for this year's season.
One of the plans we had, is to improve the players of this community to become professionals, the referees as well to become professionals. So do the coaches, even us, the committee, has to further our administration of sport in order to develop sport not only in this community, not only in North Bank, but in the country at large. So we have a huge plan for this community, but we wanted to commence it with the starting of the NEWDAN, while we will be effecting the change because we cannot imply it totally.
When it comes to security arrangement during matches, this is what he has to say.
Security has been a problem, especially around this end, the previous years before we came in. But we have seen them, we have wrote letters to them, we have had meetings with securities, we have come to terms, and we believe that they are playing an important role in the development of this community, in the development of this country.
Umar Kita, manager of Rafeni female team and Raiders Football Club, also explains his club's preparation for the coming season.
We are always prepared. In every time we always prepare the boys, but this season, it will be a different season because, many of our junior boys, we, invite them to the senior team. We promote them to join the senior. So what we can tell our fans that they will see a different football like this year, inshallah. Yeah.
The first official match kicked off between the defending champions Region United Football Club and Farafeni General Hospital Football Club. Councillor Papa Tunkara took the kick-off and watched the match with other dignitaries. Region United Football Club were like wounded lions this time, after being kicked out from the 3rd Division qualifiers by Kunta Kinte boys last year, showed no mercy to their opponents, thrashing Farafeni General Hospital Football Club 3-0. At the start of the match, the medical boys of Farafeni put up a stubborn resistance, but the champs exhibit their brilliance, and the first goal arrived on the half-hour mark, scored by the number 10, Babukar Sen. The second half started with no threats by the medical boys, and it was that man again, Sen, who netted his side's second goal just 4 minutes after the first goal. Region United FC scored their third and final goal by one of the most prolific strikers, Samper Gomez, who was left unmarked, and he made no mistake to make it 3 without reply to the champions. At the end of the match, I spoke with the head coach of the Region Boys, who was pleased for his side to have 3 points, 3 goals, and a clean sheet. Reporting for QTV News, I am Don Williams.
Before we end, here's a recap of our main headlines. A 41-year-old woman died at Lamin CDC when a roof fell on her during the Friday night windstorm. Several households were also badly damaged. As part of a series of social activities in the URR, President Adama Barrow on Saturday visited the Basse Market under construction and the roads and bridges projects. A scientific study to find out whether people who tested positive for COVID-19 have or could develop SARS-CoV-19 antibodies is being conducted by the Ministry of Health with partners. In sports, the maiden QCell Youth Cup tournament kicked off on Friday at the Q City football field, with 8 teams joined in 2 groups of 4 taking part. And Farafenni Sports Association has elected a new committee to run football affairs locally. We heard from the newly elected chairman about this year's football season. Well, that's it from me in today's Midday News. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.